On Tech News Today, Flipboard buys Zite from CNN, Dish will stream cable content over the internet, and poor BlackBerry just can't catch a break. All that and more coming up next.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by CashFly at CACHEFLY.com.
It's Wednesday, March 5th, 2014, and this is Tech News Today. This episode of Tech News Today is brought to you by Personal Capital. With Personal Capital, you'll finally have all your financial life in one place and get a clear view of everything you own. Best of all, it's free. To sign up, go to personalcapital.com/TNT. And by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform that makes it fast and easy to create your own professional website or online portfolio. For a free 2-week trial and 10% off, go to squarespace.com and use the offer code TNT. Welcome to Tech News Today. I'm Mike Elgin.
And I'm Jason Howell.
Tech News Today explores the big stories of the day with the world's top journalists. Our guest co-anchor today is Dan Patterson, a journalist and content strategist who works for Tanuki Labs. Welcome, Dan.
Mike, it's great to be with you, as always.
So you explained this when you were on the show, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 weeks ago, but what is Tanuki Labs?
Well, Tanuki is, the best way to put it is we are a content and technology incubator. We build and code really cool projects here. And my role here is as recovering journalist. So it is to do a little content strategy, like you said, and a little bit of code hackery. I
didn't know you could recover from journalism, but we wish you well with your recovery. Well, let's get right to the news. CNN has sold Zite to Flipboard. The 9-year-old news reading app was a competitor to the larger Flipboard. As part of the deal, CNN will launch custom Flipboard magazines headed by CNN personalities like Fareed Zakaria, Jake Tapper, and John King. The deal is valued at roughly $60 million. With us to explain this deal is Donna Tam, who's a reporter for CNN. Welcome, Donna.
Hi.
So this looks to me like a pretty good deal for CNN. They made about $35 million in about 3 years and sold into a wildly saturated market. Does that look like a good deal for them to you?
Well, it's actually unclear how much they sold Zite for. So,
yeah.
But, it does sound like it's a good deal for them because Flipboard probably knows better how to use Zite and its technology than CNN does at this point.
Well, I mean, Flipboard, of course, is the... it's a much newer app. It's known for being visually stunning. Zite actually has a few loyal fans. Do you know how many users Zite has currently?
No, they haven't revealed those numbers, but I think you're right that they have a pretty core community that is really into that app. And like you said, a lot of loyal users.
Donna, you said something really interesting a moment ago that we don't actually know the terms of the sale, right? So this seems like a brand plus product exchange. So do we have any indication where this broke down? I mean, it seems like acquiring the personalities of people like Jake Tapper is a big deal, particularly for Flipboard. And Mike, you made a really good point a moment ago when you said this is an overly saturated marketplace. So is this like a tangible impressions advertising we get money deal, or is this like a brand acquisition? Like this helps Flipboard's brand appear more mainstream?
It probably will do that. They did say that part of what comes with this is a partnership, an advertising partnership. So they're going to jointly sell ads to other publications or other advertisers who want to advertise with them. So I think it might be a little both. I think it's going to be a good step for Flipboard to become more mainstream and to get that CNN content, but also probably good for CNN because they are recognized for having this innovative product that is definitely one of the hotter products for mobile, at least.
Well, Flipboard claims that they are getting 250,000 new readers every single day, which is pretty astonishing. So I don't think they bought it for the readers that much. And as you mentioned, they have some technology that Flipboard wants. What is this technology exactly that is so desirable by Flipboard?
So Zite has its own algorithm that is able to pick recommendations for people based on what they've tweeted in the past or what they follow, who they follow on Twitter. And Flipboard is more of a human-driven creation. So like what they want is this automated technology from Zite that's able to figure out what people want to read, even if before people know they want to read it, and have that go out to their users. And
in an unusual part of this deal, the CEO, Mark Johnson, won't be joining Flipboard. Do we have any idea why he won't be joining them?
No, I haven't spoken to him personally, so I'm not sure his decision behind that. But they said during the press call that he was going to pursue other projects. I'm
sure he will, but he's probably under a deadly non-disclosure, or whatever they call those things when you when you know everything and then you go out into the world, you're released into the wild. Well, Donna, I want to thank you for coming on. Now, I believe you're scheduled to come in as our guest co-anchor on March 24th. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it as well. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Sure.
All right, you can find Donna on cnet.com and also on Twitter at Donna Y Tam, T-A-M. Well, in a sec, I'm going to tell you about an unprecedented deal in the TV space. But first, I want to tell you about Personal Capital. What is Personal Capital? Personal Capital is a place where you can bring together all of your financial information and see it clearly right in front of you so that you can make more progress financially. There are two barriers that prevent you from growing your wealth. The first is that it's hard to keep track of all of your financial assets like stocks, 401ks, bank accounts, and all that stuff. And also, with all the different usernames and passwords, it can be kind of annoying to chase these things all over the internet. The second barrier is that you have to pay somebody to manage it, and you're probably paying too much. Now, Personal Capital brings together all of your accounts and all of your assets into one single screen, which you can look at on your computer, your phone, your tablet, and it's real-time and intuitive, using graphs and so on, so you can just see very clearly and get a really good sense of what's going on with your money. You can also find out how many fees you're overpaying on. They'll tell you where you can reduce those fees and get tailored advice on optimizing your investments. So you shouldn't wait. Signing up just takes a minute and it pays big dividends. Personal Capital gives you total clarity and transparency to make better investment decisions right away. So set up your free account. Go to personalcapital.com/TNT. And remember that Personal Capital is free, and it's the smart way to grow your money. So go to personalcapital.com/TNT. And again, that's personalcapital.com/TNT, and start getting your financial life in order today. Well, it's finally happened. A company has been granted the rights to stream the equivalent of cable TV over the internet. In a groundbreaking deal between Dish Network and the Walt Disney Company, Dish will be allowed to stream Disney's movies and channels to phones, tablets, and other devices without the viewers needing a cable subscription to Disney. In exchange for those rights, Dish agreed to delay its ad-skipping feature for 3 days after shows are played on the air. Joining us to explain this arrangement is Peter Kafka, who is a senior editor for Recode. Welcome, Peter.
Hey, guys. How are you?
This is the first deal of its kind, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a big one. A lot of folks have been trying to get the programmers to hand over their stuff for a web TV deal, and none of them have done so yet. Intel spent a year trying to do it. Sony's still trying to do it. It's a big deal that Dish got these rights. Doesn't mean they're launching a service, but it means they're much closer to launching one than anybody else so far.
Now, of course, I haven't been in the room with all these negotiations. Everybody's been trying to do this. Intel, Apple, huge companies have been trying to land a deal similar to this, and yet Dish was able to pull it off. And I have this sense, and again, it's just a general sense, that all the other companies went to the various content creators and cable companies and said, look at how good this could be. You can make all this money, and essentially emphasize the upside. What Dish had that the others didn't is this auto-hop ad-skipping service. They essentially are kind of like eviscerating the model of the financial model of these companies. And they said, you know what? We'll remove that for 3 days, which I believe is during the ratings period, a 3-day rating period, in exchange for this deal. Was that the thing that made this deal possible?
So AutoHop is interesting, and it was a lever that Charlie Ergen could use in negotiations. I don't think it was the main thing. I think there's two things. One, if Intel or Verizon or Apple or Google want the same deal that Dish got, they could get it. It means basically sort of replicating the existing pay TV structure that already exists, and a lot of them don't want that or have said they don't want that. I'm not sure how attractive this will be to consumers if Dish actually launches it, but that's a separate question. The other main thing is that Dish is already in the TV business. They've already doing deals with ESPN and Disney. They already had a deal that had expired. They were renegotiating an existing deal. It makes it much easier, I think, for someone who's already in sort of the TV industrial ecosystem to sort of go ahead and extend that deal and say, all right, in addition to the deal we're already doing, now we're going to offer something over the web, as opposed to coming to it from zero. I think that's the main thing to keep in mind here.
Peter, Dan Patterson here. Is there any indication of what type of content? I mean, simply saying they got Disney, that's is it carte blanche? It's a tremendous deal. If so, is it television? Is it movies? Is it everything? Is it legacy stuff? What are the content of this deal?
They spelled it out. They said you'll be able to get. They named 5 channels, and there's actually more that they didn't spell out, but you'll be able to get ABC
Disney
TV,
channels,
Disney, ESPN, all those channels, the stuff that you were already getting if you're getting Dish or Satellite or Time Warner Cable or Comcast. That's super valuable stuff. The same stuff you could normally get through pay TV, you can now get through this service that Dish has yet to launch.
Now, I'm not a sports fan, but I believe ESPN is the big one here, right? Isn't that the biggest cable provider?
Yeah, it's the most valuable cable network, I think, by far. It's the one people pay the most for, whether they want to get it or not. And it's considered sort of the must-have for any sort of traditional pay TV package. And
this includes ABC, right? So they're actually going to stream live ABC programming over the internet?
Yeah, if you get cable TV right now, if you get pay TV, if you get Dish, DirecTV, then you know exactly what Dish is getting here. It's all those same channels that you would normally get from Disney. It's live TV. It's the thing that everyone says they want to offer and have yet to offer.
Now, do you have a sense that this is going to usher in a big wave of similar deals by all these companies? Now that the precedent has been set, is it going to be easier for the Apples of the world?
It certainly could. Again, if Apple wants to replicate that kind of deal, and I'm not sure that they do, because you have to think about sort of where this gets you. Let's say Dish or anyone else goes ahead and gets other deals like this and eventually sort of replicates what you have on your pay TV box, on your set-top box. What you end up with is something that's going to look pretty much like what pay TV looks like, and it's going to cost more.
Well, speaking of streaming video over the internet.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, we had a little hiccup with the Skype there, Peter.
From 30 Rock. The question is sort of what consumers will want. Will you want to replicate what you were already getting from pay TV over the web? Is that a better experience? To me, it seems the killer app is something that they haven't offered yet, which is the ability to pick and choose these channels and say, I like Disney, but I don't want ESPN. Or I like ESPN, but I don't have any kids, so I don't need the Disney channel. So let me pick and choose those. Right now, that's not on the table. You're going to have to get some kind of bundle.
Yeah, I don't think that's even anywhere near the table. They definitely don't want that kind of thing.
Right. So, I mean, this is a big deal. It's very exciting for me because I cover this stuff, and I've been waiting for a version of this for years now. I'm not sure.
There we go. More Skype.
About the launches. Looks like it froze again.
Fine. Yeah, it froze again. Well, Peter, I want to thank you for coming on. This is a pretty interesting a deal, and it was a really great story you had on Recode.
Thanks. Talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you. And again, you can find Peter on Recode.net and on Twitter at pkafka. Pkafka. That's where you can find him, on Twitter. Well, it seems that BlackBerry just can't catch a break. Poor BlackBerry. First, BlackBerry users were hit yesterday by a 6-hour service outage in Canada, where the company is based, and also across the Asian-Pacific region. And in an unrelated report, some 94% of BlackBerry users traded in their BlackBerries for a non-BlackBerry phone when given the chance by a T-Mobile promotion, according to an internal memo obtained by Cam Bunton at TMO News. And with us to tell us about all this is Cam Bunton himself, managing editor of TMO News. Welcome, Cam.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So what was this T-Mobile offer to BlackBerry users exactly?
Well, the offer, it was sort of an apology because it all started, I guess, in the middle of February. They sent out advertisements or press to customers saying that they should switch their BlackBerries out for iPhones. And then what happened was BlackBerry fans made a bit of a fuss. BlackBerry's CEO, John Chen, got involved. And he said that this marketing campaign was inappropriate and ill-conceived. So then John Ledger came out and apologized. And a couple of days later, towards the end of February, they launched this BlackBerry trade-in offer where you could bring in any working BlackBerry and they would give you $200 for it. And it doesn't matter which carrier you're from, doesn't matter which BlackBerry device it is, doesn't matter how old it is, they would give you $200. for this BlackBerry. And so this has been running for the last 2 weeks now. And they said that the trade-ins are about 15 times what they would normally expect for a BlackBerry device over that time. And some 94% of those BlackBerry trade-ins, those customers chose other platforms as their next device.
And, of course, that's disastrous for BlackBerry from a public relations point of view because people are voluntarily choosing. Now, T-Mobile even sweetened the deal by reducing the price of a new phone by $50. Is that correct?
That's correct. If they wanted to switch to a new BlackBerry, they would give, if that was the Z10 or the Q10, then they would give an extra $50 off the price of the phone, and still most of them went for Android or iOS.
It's quite a thing, and of course you posted pictures of the leaked memo on your website, and
yes.
If you're watching the video stream, we're taking a look at that now. And it's kind of interesting that in a recent interview with the Financial Times, I think that was at Mobile World Congress, BlackBerry CEO John Chen said that recovery and restructuring strategies have a 50-50 chance of success. So even the CEO is pegging the success of their recovery strategy at 50-50. I think that might even be optimistic given all the troubles that BlackBerry's had lately.
Cam, T-Mobile has this reputation now for being very, but they're the smaller, more marginal of the three networks. How much is this indicative of a greater trend? I mean, if Verizon hops on this, is BlackBerry toast, or is this simply another crazy T-Mobile deal?
Well, it's hard to say because, when you look at the whole picture and you see how it all played out, it feels like almost the initial marketing campaign, sending out those emails and leaflets to BlackBerry customers initially seemed a little bit like a publicity stunt. But then what happened afterwards, from my point of view, it seemed like it was almost like a genuine apology, and they wanted to show that they were still sticking behind BlackBerry, even though they knew that the likely outcome might be that most of them weren't going to keep their BlackBerry phones. So it's hard because obviously T-Mobile has that history of their marketing campaigns being somewhat different to everybody else's. But yeah, I can't imagine any of the other carriers doing anything like this.
Well, Cam, I want to thank you for coming on and telling us about this story.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks again. You can find Cam at tmonews.com and also on Twitter at tip_Cam. And I guess that's a command. If you have some inside information or a leaked memo, tip Cam.
It's actually TIP because I run today's iPhone as well. So
okay. Very convenient. Well, all right, great. Well, thanks again. Well, Roku announced the Roku streaming stick yesterday. The TV dongle plugs into a TV's HDMI port. It's about the size of a USB thumb drive, giving it most of the features of a full-size Roku box. Will Greenwald is the consumer electronics analyst for PC Mag. Welcome, Will.
Hi, Mike.
So how is this different from the old Roku stick that Roku used to sell?
Well, the first Roku stick was MHL only, which meant it could only work with TVs with MHL ports, which are HDMI ports that can also send power to a device. And for MHL-compatible TVs, or ones that were labeled Roku-ready, it would work fine. Unfortunately, if you had a TV that didn't have MHL, which is many of them, it wouldn't work at all. This new one uses a USB power adapter like the Google Chromecast, so you can use it with pretty much any TV as long as you can either plug it into the TV's USB port or plug the USB cable into a wall adapter.
And how is this different from Chromecast exactly?
Chromecast is its own sort of unique case where you're only sort of sending addresses to the Chromecast device from your mobile device. You can tell it to load something from Netflix, you can tell it to load something from YouTube, but you're not actually directly quite as much as you are with Roku, in that you aren't sort of choosing it based on what's on the Roku menu, or the Chromecast menu, because the Chromecast doesn't have a menu. Everything is through a smartphone. Roku, it uses a whole interface and offers an entire library of thousands of channels, service providers, not necessarily like TV channels, and you can sort of select them and go with an on-screen menu. There's basically a lot more more upfront freedom for the user to look at different things.
And I understand that the remote control that comes with it, which we saw in the picture, works with Wi-Fi Direct, so that it doesn't have to have a direct line of sight. You can put it behind the TV and it'll still work. Is that correct?
I believe that's the case, that the remote control has Wi-Fi. Unfortunately, it's not the remote control that comes with the Roku 3, which has this really neat little feature of a headphone jack in it. So you can listen to whatever you're watching on the Roku Media Hub, the physical box, without having it be on the TV. The Roku stick also costs like half as much. So that's why it doesn't have that feature. But it does have dual band Wi-Fi in the Roku stick itself. So hopefully that'll mean faster or at least more stable wireless internet connection between the stick and your home network.
Well, that's great news because you can't have too many remotes on a couch.
Will, Dan Patterson here. I wonder if this is indicative of future trends or if this is simply a response to the Chromecast. Will we see an Apple
possibly
stick?
Apple, I'm not sure, because Apple has their own style, and part of that style is that you need to have something shiny, possibly white, slightly curved and attractive in front of you for it to work. I don't think they'd be happy with a little
like
stick you plug into the back of your TV.
Of course.
I'm not really sure if this is a direct response to the Chromecast, because Roku did the streaming stick before with MHL, and the MHL version will still be bundled in some Roku-compatible TVs as a package deal. But I do think this is just trying to perhaps catch some of the fire of the Chromecast, because it's a new form factor and one that's appealing to a lot of people. And because the Chromecast, well, has a lot of potential and is obviously less expensive, Roku offers sort of a more comprehensive service of different online channels.
Well, Will, I want to thank you for coming on. I appreciate you explaining this new product. Now, of course, I believe the product is expected to ship in April. And again, that's $49.99. Thanks again for coming on the show.
Thanks, Mike.
You can find Will's work at PCMag.com. Yahoo will stop letting you log on using a Facebook or Google ID. A Yahoo ID will be required even for sites like Flickr and the company's various sports-related sites. Sean Hollister is West Coast editor at The Verge, and he's here to tell us about this story. Welcome, Sean.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So is this all about harvesting personal data? Why are they doing this?
Well, for a very long time now, Yahoo has been wanting some of Microsoft and some of Facebook and some of Google's users because they've been having some troubles of their own. So having those folks come in and use their services allowed them to boost their numbers for things like Flickr and Tumblr and Yahoo Mail. But now they want to have those users all to themselves. And by forcing them to use native Yahoo IDs, they get to track those folks and personalize the experience for them and generally have some lock-in for those users to have them use more Yahoo services and not steer away from those towards Google and Facebook.
Now, Sean, is this part of a larger customer acquisition strategy for Yahoo?
I would say that it's a little bit risky right now to cut those off right away, because Yahoo's still trying to get back up on its feet. But the new services, the new picture heavy Yahoo services that we're seeing them roll out the redesigns for, they are very attractive. And if those services are attractive enough to keep those users, maybe it will help them get more customers for the rest of their services as well.
And do we know exactly which Yahoo properties this will affect and when, more importantly, when this will happen? When are they rolling this out?
Yeah, it's going to start very soon for a fantasy basketball piece that they've got on their site, but they say it's going to roll out to everything eventually. They don't have much of a time frame for when we'll see it, hit the major services like Flickr and Yahoo Mail, but they want to do it across the network and just own the entire package.
And what about Yahoo customers who have grown accustomed to using these authentication services and long ago forgot their Yahoo credentials? What happens to those customers?
Well, that includes me right here. I'm an occasional Yahoo user. I've used Flickr here and there, and I will probably stop because it's not that important to me, and I can't be bothered to go find my Yahoo ID. If it mattered to me, though, creating a Yahoo ID isn't a big deal. There are password managers like 1Password and LastPass that can easily get me into that account. If it was a big deal, I'd probably have multiple accounts. I'd have my Google account, I'd have my Facebook account, I'd have my Yahoo account, and not worry about it too much at this point. But I can see that little bit of extra friction is what Yahoo's counting on for lock-in, and what also might hurt them in the short term if those Facebook and those Google users won't be bothered, like myself, to find that Yahoo ID again.
Well, Sean, I want to thank you for coming on the show. And, of course, you can't have too many Yahoo IDs. I probably have 2 or 3 lying around somewhere. Thanks again for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
All right, you can find Sean at TheVerge.com and also Starfire2258 on Twitter. All right. In a sec, we're going to put our finger on the pulse of PC sales and also smartphone sales. But first, I want to tell you about Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform that makes it fast and easy to create your own professional website or online portfolio. Now, Squarespace is constantly improving their platform, so if you've been on Squarespace 6 months ago, a year ago, come back to squarespace.com and check it out. It's a whole new Squarespace. They're constantly improving everything with new features, new designs, and even better support. They have 25 beautiful templates for you to start with, and they've recently added a logo creator tool. That's right. If you have a small business and you need a logo, one option is to go through this slow, painful, expensive, and frustrating process of hiring a designer and working through the logo. The easy way and the fast way is to use Squarespace's logo creator tool. You simply go in there and they will guide you through the process of creating a unique logo that you can trademark and make it your very own. It's very awesome. You can check that out at blog.squarespace.com. Squarespace is very easy to use, and they have support 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you need help and want to learn how to be a better website manager or a blogger, then you can go to their customer help site for easy access to self-help articles and video workshops. They will actually train you how to do it really, really well. Sounds expensive, right? But it starts at just $8 a month, and that includes a free domain name if you sign up for a year. Squarespace is famously mobile ready. Their new Squarespace metric app for iPhone and iPad lets you check the site stats like page views, unique visitors, and that sort of thing. And their blog app lets you manage your blog, including comments, on the go while you are mobile. And, of course, Squarespace takes care of all the hosting, so you don't have to worry about that. So start a free 2-week trial with no credit card required and start building your website. When you decide to sign up for Squarespace, make sure you use the offer code TNT. That will get you 10% off, and it'll also show your support for Tech News Today. And we thank Squarespace for their support of this show. And remember that a better web awaits, and it starts with your new Squarespace website. Well, here's a news flash for you. PC sales are dropping. A new report from IDC says PC sales dropped by nearly 9% last year and will decline another 6.1% this year. Although that may not surprise anyone, IDC also predicted something surprising. They expect the smartphone market in China to slow down next year to about 10% growth. Now, 10% growth is growth, but still, China has been a rocket ship for smartphone sales. And I think, Dan, the most surprising thing about that fact is the fact that only 40% of Chinese smartphone, only 40% of Chinese phone users are using a smartphone. So everybody expected this, hundreds of millions of people to be upgrading to a smartphone from a dumb phone or a feature phone. And, you can get a smartphone for $50 in China. So, I wonder why these people aren't upgrading.
Yeah, there are typically 2 reasons why a market like this will stop, and they are either saturation or economic downturn. And because we see neither really in China, I'm not sophisticated enough to really understand the demographic of purchasers in China, and it very well could be that there is a ceiling that is only 40% of those consumers are going to have smartphones, and that may be for some cultural reasons that I just don't understand. However, this does seem to be a mystery, and it doesn't really adhere to what we know about why markets stop growing.
Now, back to the PC numbers, of course, there are all kinds of reasons why the PC market has been slowing down for the last few years. One of them is people are happy with tablets and smartphones. The tablets and smartphones are getting more powerful. I personally sometimes use my iPad to write columns and do that kind of thing. It's a pretty good alternative to a PC. The other reason that's being bandied about right now is that PCs are actually getting better. They're getting higher quality, and they're so powerful these days that, it's a 2-year-old PC is still perfectly good. And so that's, their success is kind of a problem for that industry. And I think we're going to see declines continuously every year from now on.
And we may see just simply a flattening of the marketplace until the next must-have device hits. But, this is to be expected. It's just very interesting that we're seeing it now.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, that's our show. And Dan, I want to thank you for coming on today. It's been awesome having you on again. And I hope you have you on as a guest co-anchor again in the near future.
Well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, you can get breaking news from Twit every day by following Twit News on Twitter. You can subscribe to this show, Tech News Today, at twit.tv/TNT. And please email us at tnt@twit.tv. Leave us voicemail by calling 260-TNT-SHOW and tell us what's on your mind. Subscribe to our subreddit at technewstoday.reddit.com and follow our social pages by searching for Tech News Today on Twitter, Facebook, Google+, and YouTube. Check out our Google+ community. That is, we're having a good time in there. Also, don't miss our evening newscast, Tech News Tonight, at 4 p.m. Pacific tonight and every weeknight. My name is Mike Elgin. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow.